Hi there, this is writer Elena Passarello, and welcome to Open Book, a literary podcast from Livewire Radio brought to you by Powell's Books, where we talk to writers about their reading habits. Now, when I'm not having fun being Livewire's announcer, writing is my job. I am the author of 2 books, and I'm currently writing a 3rd one, which explains why my home office is a mess of printer paper and Tupperware and an old yoga mat that I just used to curl up into the fetal position for like several hours at a time. I also teach writing here in Oregon, and all of this is to say that books are, without exaggeration, my whole life. I even started a book club with my 3 cats, which is kind of frustrating because they never do the reading. This week on Open Book, I'm talking to one of my favorite writers/people, Melissa Febos. Melissa is the best-selling author of several books, including Girlhood, which won the National Book Critics Circle Award in Criticism, and Body Work, The Radical Power of Personal Narrative. Melissa also teaches writing at the University of Iowa, so she reads a lot. Her latest book is The Dry Season, a memoir of pleasure in a year without sex. And one of the pleasures she experiences, of course, is books. That's what we're going to talk about, along with the ins and outs of a book tour, how to reset your reading brain when you read for work all day, and a genre that was new to me called airport romantasy. This is Melissa Febos on Open Book. Melissa, welcome to Open Book.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm not kidding. You're one of my favorite people in book world.
I feel exactly the same way.
Do you remember when we met? Because I do.
Yeah. I remember that you referred to yourself as someone who evokes a Cracker Barrel waitress. And I was like, I like this lady.
I don't remember that. I remember you were sitting, it was at this kind of writing retreat in New Hampshire, and you were sitting on some stairs and there was a bike next to you. And I was like, oh, this is the postcard. Like I'd just driven in and I was like, oh, they made the postcard for me so that I knew that I was in the right place.
No, I remember that. I thought upon first meeting exactly what I think now, which is that you were hilarious and brilliant and really, really fun.
Well, this first question worked out really good. I was hoping to be festooned with compliments. Now, had you written a book when we met 15 years ago?
I think I had just published my first book like a few months before that. And that was my first residency. So I was like a little bit shell-shocked when I arrived because I was like, whoa, what is a residency? But also like, who am I? Do I have a body?
All the things that we ask ourselves when someone gives us the time to sit and write.
That's right.
There's a great writing residency scene in your new book, by the way, Dry Season. But we're not here to talk about your books, Melissa. We're here to talk about the books that you read. Tell me what you were like as a reader when you were little, Melissa.
I was like a crackhead reader. And I say that not really metaphorically. I'm an addict. I've been in recovery for 21 years. And I think that reading was literally my first drug. I read so much that in the beginning they were like, cool, she's a reader. She has a love of literature. It's so nice. And then they were like, have you been outside today?
Put the book
down. Did
you
sleep last night? I really was looking like a tweaker because I would stay up all night reading under the covers of the flashlight and reading inside of my school books. I was super, super obsessive reader.
Were you one of those people who would in the bathroom, read the shampoo bottle to have print to ingest?
I actually, when I was a kid, couldn't poop unless I was reading. I would read the toothpaste, the shampoo bottle, anything.
What do you think that is? I think about it now, we don't like it when people are scrolling on their phones, they sit still. But there is this version of that. I also was this person where it was I need to be looking at text right now, at printed text.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think that's necessarily what a writer is. But
no, I think I was just a sensitive person with various strains of mental illness in my genetics. And life was just sort of too much and other people were too much. And I kind of needed an out, and books and printed text was available everywhere.
That's true. Now, when I say books you read as a child, what are the first things that are popping into your head right now?
The first thing I thought of was Clan of the Cave Bear.
Yeah.
Because that wasn't the first book I read, but I think that was one of the first adult books that I read. And I don't know if you remember Clan of the Cave Bear.
A little racy, right?
Quite racy. In fact, I remember reading it and it was my mother's book. So she knew what was in it, right? Mm-hmm. But I was like, oh, I read this book, putting it back on her shelf. And she was like, oh, masturbation material. And I was like, oh no, she knows. Yeah, but I just read anything. I read books that now I think I would be too bored and I would actually stop halfway through. But as a kid, I was just totally omnivorous, up for anything. Reading books like weird British novel, I'm just like, I must not have understood anything in there, but I was up for it.
Were you a rereader?
Absolutely. I'm still a rereader, but I wouldn't let myself do it for a while because I got infused with this weird capitalist sort of approach where I was like, oh, I'm going to die and I can't. I have to read as many books as possible. And then my wife, Danica, who's like so smart in this way, was like, what are you talking about? Why would you constantly start books and then give up on them? Why don't you just read something you know is good? Like, we're all going to die. You're not even going to touch the world's literatures.
Yeah, you're not even going to come close.
What do you reread?
I reread The Sound and the Fury a lot.
Oh, nice.
I reread right now. Well, right now I'm writing. I'm in like the throes of a book, so I'm not doing a ton of reading that isn't for that. But I am rereading kind of the same. I'm finding, and this is a question that I really wanted to ask you. We've asked it a couple of times on this podcast, which is how writing a book changes the way you read, right? Since you've had 5, I think this could be a multifaceted answer. But to answer my question myself, like for me, writing a book has made me more forgetful as a reader, I think, because you always have to cram all this text into your head.
Yeah.
I have to have like a Sherpa with me, like a book where I'm writing down the things that happen that I want to remember, or I have to have like an auxiliary recording device. So tell me, Fifth Book Febos, I think we're calling you, how has writing your book, especially this many books, changed the way that you work as a reader?
Yeah, I think in the same way that you just described, where there is a kind of like mercenary reading that I've learned to do from research as like books. I write books where I do a lot of research for them as you do. Yeah. And you have to really like gut a book. Like you have to know how to just get in there, get into the guts and get out with what you need. And that's not a great way to read, but it is sometimes necessary. So it's like, I'm glad I know how to do that, but I need to like really analog go in and like change the settings in my brain when I'm reading something not for work so that I can actually absorb every sentence. So I think in that way, but I will say also that writing books, because I've read so much heavy like theory and history, just like not fun stuff, but interesting stuff, it has made me a little more generous with myself in my pleasure reading, where like I just read whatever I want. Like I actually hit sort of, I don't even want to say a new low because it's so judgmental, but I have like broken the seal on like hyper popular airport romantasy series books. And I'm like, I think even 5 years ago, I would have been like, oh, no.
Right.
Sorry, I'm too smart to read those books. I couldn't possibly be reading the same book as this, whoever next to me on the airplane.
Tell me the appeal of, I've never read a romantasy book.
I never had before either. And then I was at a residency. The trashiest reading I read is while I am working the hardest at my own work, actually, because I'm putting so much brain into that afterwards I'm just like, I need pure just like shoot it into my jugular, the pleasure and the escape of it. And so I started with this dragon series called the Empyrean series. And it's, what is it? Iron Flame is one of them. I can't remember what the first one is called, but they're terrible. But she knows how to do. They're there. A friend of mine just earlier today compared them to pornography, where it's like they have one job and they do it really well, but everything else in them is quite bad.
Right. They know but the thing that you want when you're putting together.
I cry, I become aroused. Like it's like a literal roller coaster inside of me of like sensory experience reading these books. And I just do think that being like a college professor and the author of 5 books should make me immune to simple pleasures of the hoi polloi, but it absolutely doesn't. In fact, I am so into it. And then when it finished, I was so bereft that I moved on to the fairy series. The fucking fairies. It's just fairies fucking and warring. It's amazing.
So they fight.
A Court of Thorns and Roses. You've seen it.
Oh, Sarah Moss, right?
Yes.
Sarah Moss.
Yes. And this one I actually can recommend because the writing is actually palatable. Like not good, but you can... Sarah Moss, I'm sorry if you're listening to this. I'm sure you're not. But it's I feel better about myself reading these books. They're also the gendering of the characters is a little less cartoonish, and that feels better too.
Right.
Anyway, I don't know how I got so deep into this, but here we are.
I think it's good. I mean, I think I will always want to preserve the part of myself that wants to read things that like you go on a cruise. I don't really want to go on a cruise, but you go on some kind of a thing where people are reading like a beachfront. And there are like 6 people that are reading the same book. It's the song of the summer, but it's the book of the summer. Yeah. I don't ever want to be in a place as a writer or a teacher where I can't engage with that. unless it's like fascist or whatever.
Totally.
Like,
Totally.
I always want to keep that. I don't know. Is it insulting to call it like a popcorn book, beach
Yeah,
book?
yeah.
Like that value is a value.
Yeah,
you know?
and I consider it a sign of my maturation as a human being that I'm because when I was younger, that was not the vibe. When I was younger, I was like, no, if everybody likes it, I can't partake. And now I'm like, yeah, I am part of the people. I am a person. So I am, and give me the simple pleasure.
Yeah.
Give me the easy to digest escapist pleasure. I need it more than ever.
And it feels so good to be with other people when they're doing something.
It's so fun to talk about.
Ugh.
Yeah.
So you are touring your book right now, which means that part is done and the wind up and all the things that you have to write. So maybe you have a little extra time to read now.
I actually saved the last fairy book. I forced myself to stop. I can't believe I'm talking about this in a recording. I've grown even in the last year. Because I wouldn't say, people would be like, what are you reading? And I would just have like the last literary novel I read to pull out of my pocket, and I wouldn't mention the dragon books. But now I'm out. I'm out of the closet. There's no going back. But I saved a fairy book. But I'm also reading I truly am also reading a very depressing New York Review of Books. So I have my dignity.
The New York Review of Books series.
Yeah. Susie Boyt's Loved and Missed.
Oh
God, dagger in the heart. It's so good.
When is it?
So good. But it's like, I think it was published like in the 70s and it was just reissued, but it's beautiful.
A novel?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a heart-wrenching
novel.
It's
a heart-wrenching novel. It's just about like a mother with an adult child in London, and her daughter is a drug addict, and she ends up raising her daughter's daughter. And it's just like funny and beautiful and absolutely heartbreaking.
London in the 70s has a chasm of grit and harrowing.
It is very gritty. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's great.
And so you've kind of marshmallow tested the fairy book, and then you have this other book.
Yeah, so I have the fairy book. I'm going to save it till the end of tour. So I'm still reading real novels at this point in the tour, but I'm only 3 days in. So by the end of the week, it'll probably be back to the fucking fairies.
Do you buy a book at every book? That's the title of that. Back to the fucking fairies with Melissa Febos. Do you buy a book at every bookstore you visit?
No, I used to do that, but then I've donated so many books that I just can't. And I also am middle-aged now, and so I have a bad back, and I needed to bring a suitcase that I could actually lift myself without suffering severe injury. Yeah. So I brought a carry-on suitcase for like a month of tour, and someone gave me a tote bag at one of my earlier readings, and I actually had to give it away. I was like, this doesn't fit.
You got to travel super light. I think I saw this on social media. You have like a tour suit.
I have 2 suits.
2 touring suits.
These are the pants of one of them.
Oh, yeah. And they're a very wrinkle-resistant kind of seersucker,
it's like a black seersucker. And then I have a green and cream striped classic seersucker with a little jacket.
So the book, The Dry Season, congratulations on this book.
Thank you.
Know, I feel like you are our champion of memoir, Melissa Febos. You stand up for it in your writing and in your advocacy and as a literary citizen. Like, memoir has like such a fighter in you.
Yeah. A friend did ask me at lunch today, because I told him that I was writing 2 novels, and he was like, what about people are going to feel betrayed?
You're Dylan going electric.
I know.
Holy shit. Oh no.
So we'll see.
So this new memoir, is the kind of time frame of the memoir is this year of voluntary celibacy. Is that and this was like 9 years ago, yeah? What did you find yourself reading during that period of time? Not for the book. The book has a ton of books in it, but like when you were actually living that period.
Oh, that's an even better question, because I've been talking about the research for the book a lot, which is a bunch of nuns.
Great research.
Totally excellent.
Yeah.
It's much sexier than anyone knows except people who know.
Word. I learned so much about
stuff.
hot nuns from your book, honestly.
There's a lot of hot nun material, but that's not what I was reading in my pleasure time. And it was so pleasurable. Like, when I took this break, I had been in nonstop monogamous relationships basically for 20 years. And it had never occurred to me that being partnered impinged on my reading. And now it makes perfect sense. Like, of course, there's always another person there with all their needs and their consciousness. So like less reading time, right? But when I was celibate, I just would I bought this rug, this white shag rug, and I would lie on the rug with these pillows, and I would just read for whole afternoons. And it actually reminded me exactly of when I was a kid. And I remember looking at my parents when I was a kid and being like, these people never read. It's so sad. What's wrong with them? And they were like, we have jobs. You little miscreant. And I also have a job, but not in the summer.
Right.
And so I just would like lie and read for like 7 hours in a row. And it was mostly mysteries. I love mysteries. I love literary mysteries.
Like Patricia Highsmith.
I like Patricia Highsmith, but there's too many men in her books, actually. It's all these like horrible men sort of doing horrible things to each other, which there's a certain pleasure to that. But I just get tired of hearing them talk, even on the page. And so I actually keep a Google Doc of all of the mysteries that I love best, which are mostly mysteries written by women that have mostly female characters and hopefully queer characters and good writing.
Okay, I too have summers off, or this summer at least. Who is an author who's writing this kind of mystery that you like so much that I can add to my list?
Happy to. There's a book that I tell people, you might not need this. I don't know if you read mysteries, but it's a good icebreaker because it's so killer in literary ways. Like you can bounce a quarter off this woman's sentences. But it brings all of the pleasures of a true mystery, and that's Flynn Berry's Under the Harrow.
Okay.
It's kind of a slim, totally gripping, beautiful, murdery book. It's great.
Love a thin book.
It's just, you can just gulp it down in a day.
A book that you can put in the pocket of your seersucker jacket.
That's right.
You know, or like fold it over and hold it in one hand when you're on the metro.
That's right.
Like
That's right. Use it to swat the rats away.
Mm-hmm. So we always end with the same question here on Open Book. We ask our hallowed guests for a controversial book or reading opinion. Melissa Febos, do you have one?
I have so many that I actually can't. They're bottlenecking in my mind
Feel
right
free to
now.
lightning round
Can
through.
I lightning round?
Yeah.
Okay. It's okay to stop reading a book at any point because you're bored.
Amen.
And never come back to it and never feel guilty.
Life is short.
Everybody should read some books of the people, like some super popular fun books. Like it's humbling and it's pleasurable. So do it. And I don't know that I ever, I will, but I don't need to ever read another book by a man. You can cut that if it's too controversial.
No, we like it.
But I just feel like I spent the early years of my life growing up in the 80s and 90s reading almost entirely men. It's not even like a political position. It's like a physical, like it's just too, I'm just at capacity, you know? And so there are a few who I'm like, I will always buy his book when it comes out. But if there's two men talking for too long, it's like I have an allergic reaction to it.
Yeah, they don't talk about the book equivalent of the Bechdel test.
Yeah,
but
that's basically what it is.
The Febos test is how long are men talking in this book before someone else intervenes?
Yeah, it's just my hand just drops it.
So there are some people that you still might read who are male writers, man writers. Who would those be?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I read plenty of male writers. I just don't feel obligated to, not with a single cell of my being. So
that's an important point. Is like even if you say you don't need to read it again, you're probably going to. Like they're always washing up on the shore of our consciousness.
And there are male writers that I like. I just don't feel I ever owe it to mankind.
If you have time, you're going to seek out another.
Yeah, and that obviously excludes trans men and, but the only man who comes to mind right now who's not like a friend, whose book I will buy in hardcover and just read it is actually Jonathan Franzen. I love reading his work, except for that one bad one.
What do you love about Franzen's writing?
It surprises me. It's thoughtful. I just trust him. Like he has a kind of authority, even when he's being a bozo. And I'm like, enough about the birds, you know?
He does love those birds.
I just trust he's going to make it interesting for me and that there's some thought behind it. And there are really deep, profound surprises. And most of those surprises arrive in the form of the depth of his representation of human consciousness. And that is one of the principal things that I read for in novels, and he almost always delivers it.
The depth of human consciousness,
yeah,
or
just
a deep exploration of consciousness.
He goes into the labyrinth and depicts it in a recognizable, humane way. More humane the longer he writes. I think his earlier books were less humane. He was sort of meaner to his characters. Yeah, he's still pretty mean, but you can tell he loves them now.
Oh, yeah, I think that makes me think about what we were talking about with beach books too, because then it's like, well, why don't we only read beach books? Because these literary endeavors sometimes give us a profound surprise, an architected surprise, this grounded, confident, sort of epic discovery.
Did you read The Safekeep?
No.
By Yael van der Wooden? It's so good. I mean, not only because the sex in it is absolutely mind-blowing, it is, but because it has one such surprise.
Okay. We have to ask one more question. I'm sorry. I think we'd be remiss, Melissa, if we didn't ask you, what's some of your favorite sex writing?
Oh my God. Eileen Miles, Jeanette Winterson.
Maybe my favorite. Yeah, like I just teleported like the guy in Ratatouille back to being like 20 years old.
Oh my God, Written on the Body, Sexing the Cherry, The Passion. I mean, it's just, she was the first writer where I was like, oh, you can be brainy and aesthetically great and just nasty at the same time. And you can write about like a piece of fruit or something totally cliched. And she is a gifted woman.
Mm-hmm. Well,
she has had some sex.
Yeah.
I'm pretty certain.
And she remembers it.
She remembers it well.
She may have been taking some notes.
That's right.
That's what I should have done. Melissa, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, even when there's a microphone in my face.
Oh my God, the pleasure is all mine.
That was Melissa Febos on Open Book. You can order her latest book, The Dry Season, over at powells.com. Thanks for listening to Open Book. I'm Elena Passarello, your host. Our executive producer is Laura Haddon, and our producer and editor is Melanie Sevchenko. Eben Hoffer is our technical director. Hazik bin Ahmad Farid is our mixer. A. Walker Spring composed our theme song, and Ashley Park is our social media marketer. A big thanks to the entire staff at Livewire Radio, the fine folks at PRX, and of course, Powell's Books for sponsoring this podcast.